Hi, I'm Gwen from Louisiana. Please like and subscribe. I was born to one of the wealthiest families in New Orleans. My dad was a successful businessman and my mother was a pastry chef, but she stopped working when I was born to raise me. My parents threw fancy parties every weekend, and Mom wore the most beautiful dresses. Whenever they went out, people would stop to tell them what a gorgeous couple they were. I, on the other hand, was nothing like my parents. My hair was a mess, and I always had mud and grass stains on my clothes from chasing squirrels and playing in the dirt. On more than a few occasions, people mistook me for a boy, and the kids in school thought I was strange.
You want to meet my friend? His name is Charlie.
Ew, yuck!
You're such a creep.
Once in 8th grade, I was watching Mom get dressed for a party, and I couldn't help asking, Mom, how come I'm not pretty like you? What? Of course you're pretty. No one has ever called me pretty except you and Dad, and you're my parents, so it doesn't even count. Are you sure I'm your daughter? Gwen, why would you say that? None of the kids at school like me very much, and I just don't see how I'm related to you two. Was I switched at birth? Am I adopted? You can tell me, I won't be upset. Mom pulled a beautiful gold locket from her jewelry box and put it around my neck. Inside that locket is a powerful secret. Beauty, success, happiness, whatever your heart desires, you'll find your answer in there.
No way!
It's true. I want you to have it. But you have to promise to wear it all the time to keep it safe. I nodded and opened the locket. There was a mirror inside. I don't understand. What do you see?
My face, obviously.
Well, that's the secret. Mom, that's really lame. One day, I hope you'll see what I see when you look in that mirror. When I was in 10th grade, things took an awful turn. Mom got really sick and went into a coma, and Dad and I were devastated. Over time, Dad started making bad business decisions and lost most of our money. We moved into a tiny apartment, but Dad was still struggling to make ends meet. Most days, he was too sad to even get out of bed. One day, Dad forgot to make dinner, and as I looked around for some snacks, I found Mom's old recipe book in a drawer. I picked a recipe and made the most delicious meal ever. What's that smell? It's wonderful. Dad and I ate together, and he smiled for the first time in months. After that, I started cooking dinner regularly, and it made me feel closer to Mom. A few weeks later, someone pounded on our door one evening. It was our landlord demanding rent. Please, I just need more time. This is the last extension. If you fail to pay next month, I'll throw you out. I really wished I could do something to help. Suddenly, I remembered Mom's words and opened my locket. Beauty, success, happiness, whatever your heart desires, you'll find the answer in there. I thought of all the recipes I'd been making recently from Mom's book and had an idea. I printed out a menu and went door to door in our apartment building with copies and tasting samples. And to my surprise, orders started pouring in the next day. Soon, I had to make so many lunch and dinner boxes to deliver that Dad started helping me. We were able to make our rent, and over a few months, we were supplying food to other apartment buildings too. We needed more space for our operation, so we soon moved into a small house. At the start of summer vacation, I was busy packing meals one day when I saw a moving truck pull up to the house next door, and a pretty girl my age stepped out of it. I thought I'd welcome her, so the next day I went over with a pie. But just as I was about to ring the doorbell, I heard people yelling inside and then a loud smash. I quickly turned to leave, and a few steps later, I tripped over someone's leg and fell over with my face in the pie. That was hilarious, and I really thought I wouldn't be able to laugh today. Why did you trip me up? Why were you snooping around my house? I just came to say hi, like a nice neighbor. I even baked you a pecan pie. Pecan? That's my favorite. Is there some part of the pie that didn't touch your face? Maybe this corner? That looks okay. I sat down beside the girl as she ate. Her name was Emily, and she told me the people screaming inside were her parents. I can't stand when they fight, which is all the time. They're so busy hating each other, they don't even notice me anymore. What are your parents like? Do they get along? Suddenly, I felt a lump in my throat, and I just couldn't bring myself to talk about Mom. Yeah, my parents are like best friends. They're perfect together. But it's just me and my dad right now. Mom's out of town for a few months. Emily and I quickly became friends, and we spent the whole summer together, watching movies, riding our bikes, and baking cookies in the kitchen. When high school started, I was glad that I had a friend for a change. But the very first day, I saw some cheerleaders talking to Emily by the lockers, and then she came skipping to me. Guess what? The cheerleading captain said I've got a great look, and she wants me to try out. Well, that Candace is a jerk. She's always calling me a weirdo just because I don't paint my face like a clown or act like a bimbo. I don't know. She was really nice to me. It was obvious Emily wanted to join cheerleading, and I didn't want to sound petty, so I didn't say any more. And soon enough, I felt she started changing. Sure, she still hung out with me, but she'd run off the second Candace called her. She even started changing the way she dressed, and I could swear she was trying to imitate Candace's nasal voice when she spoke. One day at lunch, Candace and her gang walked over to us and invited Emily to a party. I'd like to bring Gwen too, please. Hey, why are you begging for me? I'm not dying to go.
Sorry, Em. The party's kind of exclusive, but I've heard some rave reviews about your food, Gwen. Think you could cater for like 100 people this Sunday? I don't mind if you come as a waitress.
I'd be happy to take your order, but I won't be waiting on you.
You could have made yourself loads of tips, but suit yourself.
As much as I disliked her, I didn't want to turn away a big order. I worked hard all weekend and Dad dropped it off at her place. But the next morning, I was shocked to find the food inspection authorities at her door. It turned out that Candace had made a complaint because she got an allergic reaction from something she ate at the party. She told me she had nut allergies and I was very careful. Well, clearly some contamination happened and we'll be investigating further. For now, we're suspending your business license for the next 6 months. I was so mad. And the next day when I saw her in school looking just fine, I felt even angrier. Candace, you have to withdraw your complaint. I'll give you your money back.
It's not about the money. You endangered my life. My parents take me very seriously, and they're not gonna back off. Sorry, there's nothing I can do.
You're such a witch. Emily, how can you be friends with someone like her?
Yes, Emily. Why don't you make a decision already? Who will it be? Me or her?
Emily stared at me blankly, then looked away. Candace smirked, and I stormed off. But later that afternoon, I found Emily waiting for me outside my house. Look, about what happened in school, let me explain. It's pretty clear to me, and I have no idea why you're here. I like being your friend, but I also like being a cheerleader. Why can't I have both? I can have those friends there, and we can always be friends outside school. If you can't be my friend at school, I don't want to be your friend at all. What's the matter with you? I just like being popular. I like being noticed and feeling seen. You don't know what it's like growing up in my house. Don't use that as an excuse. Everyone's going through something. It's not a good enough reason to be a jerk friend. You're one to talk with your picture-perfect parents. You wouldn't understand. Well, thanks to your friend, I might lose my business for good, so I have other things to worry about. Just go away, Emily. Fine, have it your way. And the next day, Emily was even worse. She actually joined Candace and her minions in making fun of me. That afternoon, I went down to a coffee shop that I knew was hiring. The owner was a kind man who was also impressed by my baking knowledge, and he immediately offered me the job. One evening, as I was at the cash counter, a cute boy with sunglasses walked in. He ordered some coffee and then dropped a $20 bill in the tip jar. I've never seen you here before. What's your name? Gwen. Nice to meet you, Gwen. I can give you my autograph if you'd like. Why would I want your autograph? You don't know who I am? Hey, buddy, I've got other customers, so if you don't mind getting out of the way, please. No one has ever talked to me like that. Well, maybe if someone had, you wouldn't act like the world revolves around you. Please, step aside now. Just then the boy pulled off his sunglasses, and everyone in the coffee shop lost their minds.
OMG, Damien, I love you. I'm your biggest fan.
Suddenly, a crowd of people rushed towards the boy. Then 2 huge bodyguards appeared out of nowhere and ushered him out the door. That night, I looked Damien up online and discovered that he was a pretty big movie star. I felt like an idiot. The next day, my boss called me in for a special shift at the coffee shop, and I found out that Damien had booked the place for a networking event and was inviting some big celebrities. I want you to make your mom's signature pastries that you had me try one day. I was only too happy to, and the guests couldn't stop raving about them. My boss introduced me as the baker, and I caught Damien smiling at me warmly. It kind of made my toes tingle. After the party was over, Damien asked me if he could drop me home. I think we got off on the wrong foot. I'm Damien. It's a pleasure to meet you. Damien and I talked and laughed the whole way home. This was really fun. I feel like you really see me. Of course I see you. I'm looking at you right now. Wait, I hope you're not telling me you're a ghost. Haha, you're funny. I mean, most people just see my fame and stardom. They don't really bother to get to know the real me. Who do you see when you look in here? Not some famous star, just plain old Damien. Well, I think plain old Damien is pretty cool. Damien came to see me at the coffee shop every time he was in town, and I had a growing crush on him. One night, Emily and her friends were at the coffee shop when Damien walked in. Is that?
No way!
Damien came up to me, ordered his usual, and then took a seat to wait for me to get off work. And suddenly, Emily and Candace were waving me over like lunatics. How can I help you?
Introduce us to Damien.
Come on, give him my number. You can do that for an old friend, right? I'm afraid I can't. I know Damien won't be interested in you. And why's that? Because you're as lame and fake as your jumbo eyelashes.
How dare you talk to me like that? I'll complain to management.
Go ahead. I only spoke the truth. Now, if you'll excuse me. I turned away, but just then Emily flung her chocolate shake at me. I missed it by an inch, and the shake made a huge mess on the floor. Then Emily charged towards me and slipped on it. She landed smack on her butt, and it was all over her clothes and hair. Everyone laughed as Emily struggled to get to her feet, and the loudest was Candace. One of her minions was even filming the whole thing. And by the next morning, the video was making its rounds at school, and Emily was a joke. She stopped talking to Candace and her gang, and after that, I'd always see her alone. I tried to reach out to her, but she was so mad that she refused to talk to me. And I found out one morning that she and her family had moved. She never even said goodbye. Damien and I started dating shortly after, and he even got help from his lawyer to have our license returned. The coffee shop owner wanted to invest in my business, and before I'd even graduated high school, we'd opened more branches and were supplying meals all over the city. Dad was managing it full-time and we were doing well. But the best day of my life was when I got a phone call from Dad saying Mom was awake after 3 long years. We hugged and cried for hours, and I was beyond happy to have her back. Her recovery was so miraculous that it was even all over the local news. Late one night, I was locking up one of our kitchen locations when I turned around to see Emily. Gwen, why didn't you ever tell me about your mom? I wanted to, Emily, and I thought I would eventually, but then we stopped being friends, and it was just painful to talk about. Like, saying it out loud made it too real. I'm so sorry. I never knew what you were going through, and I'm sorry for how I treated you. I just wanted to be popular so bad, but I was never good enough, and you were my only real friend. I hope you can forgive me. Emily, you were always good enough. I'm sorry you didn't see that. What's your secret, Gwen? You seem to have an amazing life now. Beauty, success, happiness, whatever your heart desires. Inside this locket, you'll find the secret on how to achieve it. You want to know what it is? Yeah, absolutely. The secret is you. You just need to believe in yourself.